Well, hello there, everyone. Uh, Doing a live video feed from Whitby, Ontario, Canada. And I've invited lots of people. Now, I'm starting a couple of minutes early. I thought it would give everybody a chance to get their phones set up and to get going. So we're going to start a bit early, and we're going to talk about retirement. We're going to talk about Honduras. And so I'm just going to say hi to everybody. And we are broadcasting live from Whitby, Ontario. That's where my wife Isabel and I live for the summertime now. And we will be enjoying our summers in Canada and retiring to Honduras every winter. So we're going to talk about that today. We're going to talk about retirement, what it means to everybody, and the big decision of what you're going to do with your time. We're going to talk about investing in a foreign country, and for many people, there's some fears involved there. We'll talk about that, and we're going to talk about the cost of living when you're retired and you have a fixed income, and that's one of the decisions you have to make is how you're going to manage that. I have some notes here in front of me because I don't want to forget anything. I also mentioned to everybody that as we're going along, you can post questions, which I'll write down. And I may be covering that in my presentation. If I'm not, I'll add it to the presentation, and I thank you for that. So we're going to have, most people are going to be looking at 3 o'clock Eastern Daylight Savings Time as being the start of this. So like I said, I started a few minutes early. I'm looking forward to having everybody join us. I did send out a lot of messages on Facebook Messenger to people who had showed interest in this presentation. I also sent messages out to people who had just liked the Caribbean Retirement Property Facebook page. So I'm hoping that we're going to have a large audience today. And this will be recorded. So if anybody misses it, which I'm sure they will, we'll post it on our Facebook page for everybody to watch later as well. And so I talked about the cost of living. We're going to also talk about the opportunity you have in a Central American country, Honduras, to give back. There's a lot of opportunity there to help. They have a large population of farmers and fishermen and people quite honestly looking for work. So we'll talk about that opportunity as well. So it is 3 o'clock, so I'm going to start the presentation now and look forward to having people join us as we go forward. So the first part of my presentation is going to be about retirement, what it means to you. I did have a post there on Facebook that asked the question, what's your thoughts about retirement going forward? What are the things that were most important to you? Retirement is one of those things where you have to plan for, and if you don't plan for it, it'll plan for you. Sometimes people retire because they have no choice in the matter. But for many people, they're going to think about retiring very soon. They'll be looking at it as maybe a 10-year plan or a 5-year plan, something that you got to look forward to. You got to look forward to planning for it as well. So I always say to people, what do you see yourself doing? The old days of retiring and retiring to Florida, it was just always a common place because it's warm and easy to get to. Going to a park where you're going to be playing shuffleboard and 3 o'clock is happy hour. That was what our parents probably aspired to. And there's still people doing that, and there's nothing wrong with that. But nowadays, people want to retire to some place that's going to be exciting. It's going to be something you're going to want to be active, fishing, hiking, going out for dining, playing some games, having a community of people that you can share your retirement with. So I want to talk about that for a few minutes. We went to Honduras. We found out about Honduras through the Enjoy development, a great bunch of people who we're thrilled to be a part of. We have two properties down there. One is at Enjoy Trujillo, and one is at Enjoy Santa Fe. And that's how we found out about Honduras. We were walking by their booth at the home show, and that time it was Christina and Paul, and of course since then we've met Gino and Lucia. And we decided, after talking to Gino on a webinar, we didn't have time to talk to them at the actual show. We contacted them afterwards, and he convinced us it would be a good idea to go to Honduras to see what there is to offer. So that's a very important part of this. Now, I mentioned we have two properties there. We have a property at Enjoy Trujillo, and we have a property at Enjoy Santa Fe. And Santa Fe is where we're building, or have built actually, our dream home. That house is now built. We're just waiting for some kitchen cabinets and cabinets for the bathrooms. And that'll be the final piece of the puzzle, and our house will be built. So what happened is we went down there, and Lucia and actually Gino and Christina, all four of the partners were there when we went there in 2014. And they took us around the area to the historic town of Trujillo. They took us out to the starfish colony. They took us to the waterfalls. We shared a lot of quality time with other people that were there who we become good friends with now. And so that was what drew us to Honduras. Well, since then, of course, we built our house in the one property, and we've decided that we are going to sell that other property in Enjoy Trujillo. So that's kind of what started this path for me and Isabel, as far as us wanting to sell our property. And in talking to the Enjoy partners, they weren't going to be offering resale properties, and they thought it was a great idea that I helped out some of the current owners that have property in both developments. And so that's why we're helping to resell those lots, and we'll talk about that in a minute. Now, you make a big decision to retire and to go to another country to do it. Why would you do that? And for Isabel and I, we talked about it quite a bit. I guess the first thing I tell you is we met some great people down there. We have great friends that are in the Enjoy developments. We've become really close, and with those friends down there, there's a sense of community that I think is very important wherever you go. You're going to be there. Our plan is to go down there for the next 20 plus years, God willing, and we're going to be enjoying that time with those folks every single year, and we're going to be relying on each other to as we go back and forth. We share times up here in Canada now in the summertime, and we're going to be sharing times all winter down there with them as well. So I think the sense of community was a big part of our decision. Going down to Honduras, we experienced Honduras for the first time firsthand. And that's the one thing I've noticed talking to people about Honduras, is they often say to us, isn't that a dangerous country? And they have fear of going there. So I want to talk about that. That's an important part of making a decision to come visit Trujillo and Santa Fe. Honduras has been a dangerous country. Honduras still is a dangerous country. No different than going to Mexico or United States, downtown Toronto, wherever you travel in the world, whether it's Belize or Guatemala or Nicaragua or Costa Rica or Panama, these are all warm, and the islands. Let's talk about the Caribbean. There are all the different islands that are dangerous. Jamaica, Dominican Republic, all those different islands can be dangerous. So wherever you go, wherever you decide to retire, my advice to you would be careful and don't put yourself in a dangerous situation. When we went to Trujillo, we met several women that are down there that are single women who are retired. They're in their 50s or 60s, and they say to us, we've been down here for 20 years, so it's a safe place to be as a single person, a single woman. but be careful where you go and what you do. Always be aware of what you're doing. So as far as going to Honduras, if you're being told it's dangerous, that is not incorrect. If you go to the San Pedro Sula, which is 6 hours from Trujillo, it's a big city, and there's places you shouldn't go because it's dangerous. If you go to La Ceiba, 3 hours away, wonderful vacation spot. It's Sunwing travels there, and they have hotels and stuff that you take you to. A beautiful part of the world in 3 hours from Trujillo, but it's dangerous if you go places you shouldn't go at nighttime, and that's just normal any country you go. The reputation for Honduras, of course, is had problems with the drugs, and that is true. That is true for every Central American country. It's true for Mexico. It's true for the southern U.S. So what I'll tell you is Trujillo is a farming, fishing, tourist area. It is a gorgeous coast, a bay that has the newest cruise ship terminal in Central America, and that has brought some development. It's brought some much needed money, because those cruise ships bring money to the municipality, and they are fixing it up and making it beautiful. So anybody got questions on that, please punch in some comments on this live feed. I just noticed my good friend Paul Kelly's watching. I believe you're in Sudbury, Paul, right now. Nice that you joined us. Debbie Gibson, I say thank you for joining us. And Robert Cloutier, I believe I pronounced your last name correct. Hello, Robert. And Jackie, nice to see you join us. Thank you very much. So we really appreciate that. So that was my comment on retirement. If I'm going to say one more thing about that, I was in an industry for over 40 years that provided recreational vehicles to people in Whitby area here in Ontario. And all my customers that bought trailers, they went and they retired. What I'll tell you is the one thing that really affected me was how many of my customers who retired waited too long. They would be within a year of retiring, something might have happened to them where their health wasn't as good. And if it wasn't their health, it would be their spouse's health. So I just say to you that if you're going to retire as young as you can, so you can enjoy as much of your health, good health that you've got coming forward, and just don't wait too long. The next subject I wanted to bring up. Oh, hello, Mike. How you doing? Mike Bozak is joining us. He's about a 5-minute walk from my house here. And so, hi, Mike. Good to see you. Mike's a neighbor of ours in Santa Fe. Him and his beautiful wife, Judy and Julie and Kent, the four of them, sisters and brother-in-laws, are neighbors of ours in Santa Fe, as well as neighbors here in Whitby. Paul, you said, what is the 50 cent on the dollar tagline about? When you go to anywhere in the world and retire, the cost of living is going to be a big issue. When you retire to Honduras, the cost of living in Honduras is very reasonable. So when we go to the market and we buy fresh vegetables and we buy chicken, pork, there's all the food that we buy down there. First of all, it's organic, so it's actually fresh from the farm and from the gardens. It tastes amazing. We walk out of there with like 4 plastic bags out of the market, and we might have spent $10 or $12, $15 tops. And we got fresh potatoes, fresh vegetables, broccoli, and I don't know all the names of the vegetables. Isabel buys them, but they're all fresh and they're all organic. When we go to the restaurants, we'll walk out of there having a lobster dinner, and if we spend $15, like that's like top price. We buy, go to the beer store, buy a case of beer, and honestly, even in the restaurants, it's about $1 a beer. Where if you go to other islands, you're talking $4, $5, $6 for a beer. So just the lifestyle, Paul, is very reasonable, and so you can live there very cheaply, and you'll be able to afford your lifestyle. So that was my tagline, 50 cents on the dollar, because you literally will go down there and live very reasonably. And Kathy, I want to say hi to you. You're joining us from Thunder Bay. I don't know if you know Smith's RV up there, but those are friends of ours up there. So if you ever go into Smith's, say hi for me. I'm just looking at my feed here. I want to make sure I continue to can see everybody's comments. I want to talk about the investment down in Honduras. That was one of our biggest decisions, was having to spend money down there and invest, hard-earned retirement money from Canada, and to purchase property and then build a house. The first thing I'll tell you is the property. You can own property in Honduras. Your property will be deeded to you in your name. So Paul's just asking, so if I said yes today to buy a piece of property and build a home, what kind of capital do I need? So I'll talk about that right now, Paul. The property there's different ways you can buy down there. So here's your choices. You can buy a building lot that starts at about $65,000. I just listed one yesterday for $64,000. That's a building lot. This is American dollars always. Okay, so that's a building lot at Enjoy Trujillo that's got paved roads, curbs, underground water, electrical. You're in a 5-star gated community, and you can walk to the beach, your own private beach. That's the property. To build the house on top of it, you're going to budget between $100 a square foot, as high as in Trujillo, one of those probably say about $120 a square foot. So that tells you right there, Paul, how much you have to invest. The square footage, you can build a house there for about 1,200 square feet approximately, 1,500 square feet, and up to 5,000, I believe, is the limit. So really up to you how big you build, and also it's up to you how fancy you make the house. You can go from ceramic tile up to marble. So it's really up to you how you build it. So affordability, that same house I just described to you, I would say triple that price to build it, because this is a concrete house. If you go to our Facebook page, we do have links on there and posts and whatnot about the houses. But you can also build or purchase condos. So I'm also marketing property for Banana Beach Resort. That's where Isabel and I have stayed the last 2 years. We stayed there right on the beach. There's existing condos there now. I've got one listed for a couple we met. It's a 3-bedroom condo. It's on the main floor for $225,000, Paul, US. Fully furnished, 3-bedroom, 3-bathroom condo. You walk out and you're looking at the beach right there. You've got a bar right to your left called the Mystic Beach Bar, and this is a development that's right close to where we are. So it's actually in between the two Enjoy properties. So what I've been doing down there, what I've been asked to do, is market properties for people who want to resell their properties. That would be the condo that I just mentioned. I'm reselling that for a couple at Banana Beach. I've been asked by the owner of Banana Beach, Rand Pop, if I would be the Canadian marketing person for his beachside resort, and so I'm doing that as well. We have existing condos that we're selling. They're on my website, CaribbeanRetirementProperties.com, and on there is a list of all properties I have listed right now for sale. So the existing Banana Beach condos are listed. There are future condos that will be built, and they are ranging. I'm just looking at my list here. They range in price in this. This is the new buildings and condos in Banana Beach. From the low end, first floor, 2-bedroom, $123,000 US. So Paul, that's your condo, your property, everything. And $123,000. It's a 736 square foot 2-bedroom condo. You can go up to as high as a $262,000 3-bedroom, second floor, almost 1,600 square foot. That gives you a price range right there. There's also houses on the beach, or I should say condos on the beach will be available in the $260 to $350 price range. So when it gets to price, Paul, really it's up to you how much you want to invest. You can. There's also, I should mention this, because Enjoy has told me if I have anybody that's interested in buying villas, they have villas that sell from 169 one bedroom, 185 two bedroom, and 245 three bedrooms. Those villas will be are under construction within the next year, and that's those villas. Some of them are attached to the marina where they have 22 boat slips. Isabel and I have a deposit on one of those boat slips. So there's seaside villas. There's all close to the water. So what I'm trying to tell you folks is, investment wise, that's the easy part. You can decide what your budget is. If you talk to me, I'm going to show you different products there that that would suit your budget. Paul's just asking me, what's a villa? Define a villa. A villa is a like a small freestanding house that's in a development, so they're fairly close together. They're kind of clusters, if you want to call it that, and they have you can have your own pool. You can have an upstairs and a downstairs. It's a private individual unit. A condo would be more like an apartment building. A villa is a freestanding smaller building, and then you get into your and that's also just more of a tighter community in the villa, where you get to your individual properties. You're having your own 1/3 of an acre and a little more ground space. Okay. Good questions, Paul. Appreciate it. So investment wise, I would say to you, there's a couple of things for that I would tell you. One of the reasons we were looking for Central America or Caribbean, we wanted to be beachfront or beachside property. We wanted guaranteed heat. We wanted to know that when we went down there from January, February, March, April, it's not cold in January. So we go down there in January and February, it can be rainy season. Of course, it rains for sometimes an hour, and then the sun comes out, and it's absolutely spectacular. I'm just getting another question here from Debbie Gibson. She's saying, how far is the airport and the hospital? The hospital, there's one right in Trujillo, so it's literally about 20 minutes from our house. Although there is a doctor there that will come to our house for about a $25 visit. He'll come to our house, he'll bring the medicine, he'll do any tests that are necessary just to see what you need. If you need to go to the hospital, it's right in town. The next hospital that's from there would be La Ceiba, and that's about a 3-hour drive. So if it's something serious, the other day, a good friend of ours in Santa Fe, she doesn't live in one of the developments. She lives on her own there. She's about approximately 75 years old, but she broke her arm. So they took her to Trujillo, and Trujillo said, no, this is a compound fracture. We're going to need to take you to La Ceiba. So she went to La Ceiba, and she was back home in about 2 or 3 days with her arm looked after. The other thing I'll tell you about the hospitals down there, Debbie, is it's fairly reasonable. Now you can talk about health, coverage, and if you have health coverage, which I do have in Canada, and I'm covered when I travel. But even if you don't have health insurance, just talking to friends that have had to have different operations done, that kind of stuff. The other day there, someone asked me how much it cost. Somebody went to the hospital, and we all guessed it would be somewhere between $3,000 and $5,000. I know what it was. It was a good friend of ours, and he was there for just getting his annual physical. While he was there, he had every single test done while he waited. Then he had laser eye surgery done to repair some eye surgery. And he was there for 3 days. At the end of the whole visit, all American trained doctors, 5-star hospital, he spent $800. So to give you an idea of what it's going to cost for you to look after yourself down there. Another question by Robert. Robert's asking, what's the latest info on Trujillo getting the new airport? We're going to cover a couple of things there. The new airport that everybody's talking about is an international airport. Isabel and I went there last winter, not this winter, last winter, and we were driven around and showing the entire grounds. The gentleman that took us, his name's Paul Castillo, and Paul's family are the people that donated the land. It's a private airport. It's not a government airport. So what they're developing there is an international airport, the longest airstrip in Central America, 3 kilometers long, I believe. It'll be a cargo and passengers. It's going to have a hotel. It's going to have a marina. It's going to have a golf course, and it's going to have residences there where people can retirement residences or retirement villas people can buy. They are going to be marketing mostly to the Honduran market because this is the tourist area for many Hondurans. Um, so the answer to your question is what's the latest? They are, and we were there recently, and I did find out that they've had some very good talks with foreign countries. The countries I believe they were talking to was Japan. Spain gets involved as well, and also there will be money invested by uh, the uh, countries that are oil countries. So you're talking um, whether it's Iraq, Iran, or whatever. I'm not sure which country, but this is an airport that needs funding. His comment to me was, if you can go to Canada, and if you know anybody that wants to invest, then please send them down. So they're looking for investment. Now, the reason I know this airport is going to do well is several reasons. Number one, the ground has already been broken. They've already started digging the roadways and stuff, getting ready for development. Number two, this airport is at the end of a major transport route from the Pacific to the Atlantic. So the government has invested huge money in improving the main road so that when the ships come to the Pacific side of Honduras, the coast, they can unload their transport trucks and containers, have them transported right across Honduras, right to the Port of Castillo, which is the port right where we are. That port, that's a major port right now for Dole. Dole ships all their produce in and out of there. Isabel and I just shipped a container down in the end of December, early January, and that container arrived at the Port of Castillo. We shipped it through the Dole company. That container was then delivered right to the front of our Enjoy property, where we unloaded it on smaller trucks and took it up to our house. So Robert, that airport is going forward. If you ask me when, I would say you're going to see development over the next 5 years. The second part of the answer to that question is, I did meet with the mayor of Trujillo recently. Many of you know that we're working on a project called Clean Beaches Honduras. So in meeting with Mayor Lianes, I hope I pronounced that right, Lianes. I'm not great with my Spanish. But when I met with him, another gentleman there, Larry, was there with me, Larry Forseth. And Larry owns a local resort, and he also owns a twin prop plane, and he is right in Trujillo at the existing airport. He flies in and out of there. He'll take passengers from Roatan, La Ceiba, San Pedro, fly them right to Trujillo. And I was just talking to his son there a couple of days ago. They're also looking to get in a single engine plane, which means he'll be able to do smaller and less expensive flights. So I've got all the pricing for that. So anybody who wants to come down, I can work with you as far as arranging your flight and your price. But the reason I bring that up is because the mayor said, I heard this last year as well, the existing Trujillo airport is getting a facelift, is getting updated and upgraded. They're going to have a new tower going in. There's a number of things going on there, Robert, that's going to make the Trujillo airport more accessible, because you can fly into Roatan or, like I said, La Ceiba. La Ceiba is Sunwing. We fly in American Airlines, Isabel and I. We usually go American Airlines to Miami and then to San Pedro. We get a plane from there. We travel with 2 small dogs. So just any more questions, keep firing them at me. I'm glad to talk to you about it. The investment part, even with the cost of buying the land or building the house, it's still very affordable. And I look at what you're going to spend in other countries or in like American countries like Florida. So you can build a 5-star house. You can buy a beautiful villa or a condo very affordably. We're talking in the mid 100s, under $200,000, very affordably, and own that for years to come. And remember, you can also rent your property out. So as an investment, if you want to use it for, let's say you're not retiring for another 5 years, well, in the meantime, you can rent out your place and recover a lot of money. And they're getting about $1,000 a week right now for rental. So it's quite a good investment that way. So that way, I want to talk about that. The next subject I want to talk about was cost of living. And I talked about that a few minutes ago for you, Paul. But I want to let you know that not only is it cheap to live there once you get there, labor in Honduras right now is quite reasonable. The Honduran labor market is they're anxious to work, but they're also, their rate of pay relative to their country is reasonable. So when it comes to owning a house and you want to get it cleaned, You can have a cleaner come in once a week, and they'll do your cleaning for you. If you want them to do laundry, if you want to bring in a cook, these are all people right now that are there, and they're looking for work. They're happy to do this, and that's what they've been trained to do, and so you can do that as well. Maintenance on your house is very inexpensive. Again, if you have any landscaping or any work you want to get done, you can hire people to do that. Taxes for land taxes or owning property, very reasonable. I will tell you between $60 is what we're paying for an empty lot right now, and I think we're going to be somewhere in the $200 range for our house. If you want to have, it sounds crazy, you want to have a massage. There's a couple of, actually at least three people I know of right now that do massages down there. Isabel had a bad back and she had an RMT do a 1 hour massage for $30 US. So, and there's also another lady we know who comes right to your house and she'll do a massage for you. And we know a couple of people like that. So that's also, there's a nice young girl there who works at one of the resorts. She does pedicures and manicures. I think the cost for that was about $8 for about an hour of her doing your pedicure. Is that right, Isabel? About $12. Sorry, about $12. We have a truck down there. We bought a truck, and that truck was not expensive. I paid about just over $5,000 to buy it, and I've had several repairs done to it. Paul, I had my air conditioner break on me. The gentleman came to my resort, took the condenser off, took it away, aluminum soldered it, brought it back, installed it, and recharged my air conditioner. It works like a charm now. That was $75, to give you an idea. So and they're happy. They're getting paid good wages. So I want to let you know, when you're living down there, your cost of health is reasonable. Your cost of maintenance for your vehicle and your house is reasonable. And Debbie, I did talk about property taxes there. So if it's budget around, I'm going to say $200. We haven't got our new tax bill with the house, but I know that Lucia did a great job of working with the local municipality to keep that down. The other thing I want to talk to you about, folks, is what are you going to do with your spare time when you're down there? People always say, is there anything to do, So the first thing I tell you is, if you like the beach, if you like swimming, if you like snorkeling, if you like walking, Isabel and I are big walkers, so we walk a lot. All those things are available to you. If you want to go fishing from the beach, there's every single day I see people, local people who actually, they fish so they can eat the fish. Sorry, Debbie, that was $200 a year, not monthly. So that's when I said right now we're paying $60 for an empty lot annually. That might go up to $200, maybe $250 annually. Okay, so it's very reasonable to own the property down there and the taxes. Okay, and then I should mention electricity. They tell us it is expensive down there. Of course, it's relative to what they're used to. But I would tell you that I think we're going to find electricity down there is going to be about the same as Ontario. So Ontario is expensive. Their electricity is not their cheapest thing they provide. But what you find out is you don't use a lot of electricity. You might use your air conditioner at nighttime to have so your bedroom's air conditioned. But we're not using a lot of electricity. We go to bed early. We're not, so it's that's one thing. And then water is part of our annual maintenance fees. I believe in most places have an annual either homeowners association or maintenance fee. So I would say to you, you should budget somewhere around $100 to $150 a month, monthly, which is going to cover your security. It's going to cover. It should cover your water, I believe. Okay, you have water. Electricity is extra, but it covers your maintenance of the general property and all that kind of stuff. So if you have any more questions on that, if I don't know, I'll get back to you on my Facebook page with specifics. Okay. But I just saying, there's so much to do down there. Isabel and I, we're down there. We're busy. We get invited out a lot. People are saying we're going into town in the daytime. We'll go into town. There's great shopping there, and there's no lack of things to do. If you're so inclined, you can volunteer. there is there's a like for Isabel and I, we're doing the Clean Beaches Honduras thing, so that means we're involved every Friday in Santa Fe, and now we have an ambassador there. Kim Brinkley's volunteered to be an ambassador in Santa Fe to carry that on for us, and then in Trujillo, another gentleman, Angel Ortiz, is our ambassador there. So we're getting involved in that. We're going to need more help. There's an expat coalition just got started. They had their second meeting on Thursday. There is schools, local schools that need help. There is an orphanage nearby that they'll always accept help and donations. So there's so many things you can do down there if you want to give back to their by helping them helping them, not doing stuff for them, but helping them. So there's lots to do down there. The one thing I want to finish up with here, we're about 35 minutes into this presentation. I wanted to talk about what's the next step. So for myself, I can tell you right now, I've got properties for sale. I've got premium lots that are resale lots in Enjoy Trujillo Beach Residences. They're on my website. I've got premium lots available in Enjoy Santa Fe. I've also got, now premium lots are going to be lots that are higher up and you're going to have more of a view. So I've got some that are unrestricted view. They sell from $120,000 down to about $98,000. I've got other lots for sale that have no view of the Caribbean, but you're only a short walk to the actual beach. They start at $64,000 and go up to around $89,000. So I want to tell you that's available right now. And then in Santa Fe, every lot in Santa Fe has a view of the water. We're on the side of a mountain. So there I've got about five lots for sale. The lowest on the mountain would be lot 2. I've got lot 4. And then we'll go up a little further, lot 7. So those are all, as you go up, we're lot 35, to give you an idea of the height. And I've got one lot for sale that's lot 72, I believe it is. And that's up above us. An incredible view. These are all paved roads and great access. It does cost a little more to build on the side of the mountain because you have more foundation. But what I'm going to tell you is the only way you're ever going to know if this is a good idea or not is to come down and see for yourself. And to that end, that's what we did. I would recommend we talk directly. You can call me on my cell phone at 905-259-4467. You can or private message me on Facebook Messenger. Email is caribbeanretirementproperties@gmail.com. It's a long one. caribbeanretirementproperties@gmail.com. So if you want to contact me, what we can do is we can set it up for you so that you have a place to stay. We can recommend several places. Banana Beach. There's also houses for rent in Enjoy. Tranquility Bay is available. There's lots of places to stay. I'm going to recommend one that's close to where you're going to visit and where your property is. And then we can arrange, I can help you arrange transportation. We have a lady here in Toronto who works with YYZ. We've used her several times now, and I know Enjoy uses her a lot. We can also arrange to tell you how to get a plane ride from the airport to Trujillo or rent a car. And I would highly recommend flying into La Ceiba, renting a car, and that way you have a vehicle there while you're there for the week. Hello, Carmen. How you doing? Carmen's one of our new neighbors in Enjoy Trujillo. She's just joined us from Kansas City. And so I would recommend you come down. When you should come down? When you're ready. I have one couple I'm talking to right now in Hamilton, Ontario. They're talking about coming down over the May long weekend. So I'm trying to arrange a time for them to come down, get a flight over, and look at some properties down there. And if I'm not down there, I will arrange with people down there who I know, friends or associates, who will show you around if I'm not able to be there. We will be there, Isabel and I, October, November. We're going to come home in December for Christmas, and then we're there from January to April. So if you're planning for this fall, that would be a great time to go down. If you're planning on going in the spring, I'd recommend more towards the end of February, only because there's less chance of rain. It is a rainy season, and you're going for 1 week. You want to get as much sunshine as possible. So that's really what I wanted to talk about, just to give you a quick overview. When are you going to retire? What do you see yourself doing? Activities from fishing, hiking, social, dining, community, all there in Honduras. And investment wise, you're guaranteed heat, low cost investment on the actual condo, low cost investment on the property and building, and you can resell it. You can rent it out, and you'll have a good investment for the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years. Your cost of living is very cheap, and I say cheap, it's cheap. You can eat and drink very reasonable, and you can also maintain your property with low taxes, with low labor costs to maintain things, and it doesn't cost a lot to buy a vehicle. And this is a place, when you come here, you can make a difference. You actually can get involved in helping out people that need your help. And the Expat Coalition is one way to do it. I'll answer that question in a second, Debbie. Thank you. And then just, you can make a difference. Debbie is just asking the question, Debbie Howd, can we buy the lot and build later? Yes. There is when you buy the property, there's a 5-year waiting period, or maximum waiting period. So they want you to build and enjoy within 5 years. Now, the person that bought it the first time, they agreed to do that. The person that buys it on resale, I'm not sure, and I'll check with the developers what they're going to do when somebody buys the lot. They may say, well, no, the first person only had 5 years. Now you've got 2 years to do it. So they do have restrictions there. The condos or villas, they'll always close, and you'll have to pay your final amount when they build them. And they will probably get a number of sales first, and then say, once we get a number of sales, we'll start building. The condos at Banana Beach will be available for, I would say, really the winter of 2018. Like this winter coming, this summer, they're going to start building late in 2017, but probably, look at it as being a 2-year project. Carmen's just asking, HOAs start after your house is built, correct, Brad? No, that's not correct, Carmen. When you buy property at Enjoy, you have $100 a month, so $1,200. We pay it once a year. You pay that as soon as you buy the property. We've been paying our HOA fees at Enjoy Trujillo, which we purchased in the spring of 2014. It closed I believe that was the fall of 2000 and was it 15? 2015, I think it closed, and we had to pay our $100 or $1,200 a year plus $60 land tax. So it was $1,260 for the year. And because they're maintaining the property at Enjoy, they've got guards on duty. They're keeping the beach clean. They are cutting the grass around the community property, the property that is owned by Enjoy. And they're also keeping the lots fairly clean too. I see them cutting the lots as well, which is what you're talking about there, is maintaining your property. So it is that is due as soon as you close on your property. Well, folks, that's 43 minutes approximately, exactly. I hope I've given you a really good overview of what we're doing in Honduras. I think our next live presentation, which we will do, will cover more about living there. We're going to talk about whether you're going to be living there for 6 months, what kind of visa you have to have, residency, buying a vehicle. There's a lot more to talk about there, but at this point in time, I wanted to tell everybody about what we're doing. I would tell you to private message me anytime. We should set up a phone call. It's much easier to talk about things than type, and I'll tell you more about Honduras. So Brad Campkin signing off. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Had about 18 people joined us, and this video will be live, recorded on our Facebook page. So please come back and share this with your friends. Thanks very much, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye now.